Well, it's another beautiful day Lord's given to us. No wind, a little bit of fog out there. Just a total flat calm. Not a cloud in the sky. Oh, I guess there's some. But not much. Not much, man. It's pretty quiet out here. It's a little bit of fog starting to lift. Too cool. Alright guys, hope you have a good day. And she's up, boys. She's up. And it's a beautiful morning for it. Climbing right up there. Nice solid cool air this morning. Lots of lift. Cut the throttle back and glide it down a little bit. Got some sirens there in the background. Somebody's needing help. Hopefully they get that taken care of. What a beautiful morning. Hey guys, check it out. It's a nice calm morning. It's a little crisp. There's a little fog rising from the pond. It's a beautiful morning to fly one of these. The air seems extremely stable. And it's just too tempting. Obviously can't do any touch and goes, and I'm trying to fly with one hand and video with the other hand, but it was just too beautiful of a scenery not to share. This thing is a lot of fun. I've mentioned before on the channel that it's one of those aircrafts that just needs to be good conditions for it. You don't want to try to fly it when it's really choppy. I have before just to practice, and I found that with throttle management, you can manage it out of a lot of issues. But still, if you don't have a lot of experience, I wouldn't recommend you trying to fly low over the water. But it is really stable. We need to give it a little throttle there. There we go. Being I'm trying to manage the throttle and steer with one hand and trying to video and keep it centered in the other hand. A little bit of multitasking here, but I figured it's worth the risk. It's not every day you get a nice morning like this to fly this thing. And I really hope they re-release this or come back out with this. I know it's been out of stock with Hobby King for, I don't know, I think it's been over a year now, at least currently. So hopefully they come back out with it and you guys can start enjoying it. But I think there's some other companies too. Check out eBay. I may put some links to some other ones. I haven't tried them, so I'm a little skeptical to share links about other companies that I haven't tried. But I know some people upgrade the chute from the Hobby King to the Hacker chute on this one, the 2.4 meter, but I haven't really seen the need to yet. And maybe I'm speaking a little bit out of terms because I haven't tried the Hacker chute on this. So I have a close friend that has a Hacker chute, actually a couple friends that have Hacker chutes on theirs, and one friend that has the Hacker Paramotor. So maybe I'll have to try them before I give too much input. But that to say that the stock chute does just fine on it. And it's a lot of fun. I think Hacker even makes a bigger one, make like a XXL. I don't know if it's like a 17-foot chute or something. So that's getting pretty big. This one's what, close to 7 feet or something, whatever 2.4 meters is. So, but it's a lot of fun. I find it really relaxing. I've been finding myself fly this thing a whole lot. Thanks again to my buddy Tim that helped me get it set up and get in the air, because it was just sitting on a shelf, wasn't using it. No aircraft is good if you're just going to sit on a shelf. Gotta watch, we're descending. They're going to add a little throttle. I don't think it's getting choppy yet, but we do seem to have a little breeze picking up. Maybe it's not even qualified to be called a breeze, but you can see the fog is kind of drifting this way from the other side. So, but anyway, this is a lot of fun. I think a lot of what goes into the enjoyment of this aircraft is the weather conditions. You want the right weather conditions, and also you want your lines and your measurements adjusted correctly for your steering. You want the proper mixing, and a little bit of experience gives you a lot of confidence in this thing. I know the first few times I hand launched it, I kind of threw it, but then was kind of real hesitant to give it any throttle because I wasn't sure if it was a good throw. And I find that the more I launch this thing and the more that I fly it, feel comfortable with it in different conditions. I haven't really hit any air pockets this morning. It's pretty stable. It's pretty chilly. It's like in the 40s. Maybe it's a fall morning. And with the fog that's rising up, you can tell kind of what the wind conditions are. So I could tell if there's, any swirling around or pockets over the water. I could just avoid that area. So it's kind of nice. But beside that, once you gain a little experience, a little bit of confidence, that even makes it a whole lot more enjoyable. And I really think it just comes with stick time and practice launching it. I've been working on launching this myself, and I think that's really good to do. Now, if you need to have somebody else to launch it to help get you started in it and get you up, there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever is fun for you is what's cool about the hobby. So there's not really a right or wrong way to do it. If you choose to have somebody else present and launch it for you, that's great. I don't usually, like this morning, I didn't have anybody else with me to like this morning, I didn't have anybody else with me to hand launch it, so I had to launch it myself. But anyway, that being said, I've learned that throttle management goes a long ways in being able to recover from some launches that I would have otherwise just cut the throttle and tried to glide it down and redo it and untangle the lines. But I find that the more that I fly this, the more comfortable I am with it, the more I kind of know where its perimeters are in flying it. The more, I don't know what the right word is, but I can get by with a lot more launches that I wouldn't otherwise. Imperfections in the launches, I think, can be corrected with good throttle management, I found. So maybe that's kind of what I'm trying to say. So in other words, the more skill you get with this thing, the more fun you can have, and the less crashes on takeoff, or the less bad takeoffs. So I found with good throttle management, it's not a lot of steering. You don't want to do a whole lot of steering when you take off with these. But throttle management, like, for example, if I take off with too much throttle and it's pitching up, I can cut the throttle, but then immediately come back in on the throttle. This tends to do a lot of pendulum because it's just, a 5,000 milliamp 3-cell and a motor and a steel cage and wheels sitting on hanging by the little strings. So it's going to swing around, and basically whichever way your angle, the angle of attack on your wing or your chute, that's what direction your little cart's going to swing around. So that being said, you don't want to do a whole lot of steering, and even with throttle management, you have to be a little bit like one step ahead of knowing which way it's going to swing next, and to be able to give it the right amount of throttle and then cut throttle. I've had times where I've launched with too much throttle and I cut throttle, but then immediately come right back in half a second, and that's just enough to smooth it out. So it takes off looking really choppy, and 2 seconds later it's nice and smooth, looks like a really good hand launch. So anyway, maybe I can demonstrate that at some point when I have somebody to swing the camera for me. But this morning I just wanted to shoot some video footage and talk about it a little bit. Encourage you guys, if you find one for sale, to pick it up. And I know a lot of people are kind of scared of them, and maybe rightly so. It's not a aircraft for everybody, that's for sure, but it's a ton of fun. And I hope to be able to create enough content and give enough tutorial type videos that if you don't have anybody to help you get started, at least you can know enough or gain enough information to start getting you in the air. Because once you get in the air, then you begin to learn more about the characteristics of it. And it's really not like any other aircraft or helicopter. I don't have a tremendous amount of experience with gliders, so maybe it's more like some of the really lightweight gliders. But it's really it's its own bird. It's very unique, and it's a ton of fun. So the breeze is picking up just a little bit, and you just kind of got to watch on your turns that you don't end up turning a little bit downwind, and it'll drop a little altitude if you're not careful. So being that I'm swinging the camera with one hand and trying to control it with the other, if I'm too low and not paying attention, it could be down in the water before I realize it. So look at the reflection on the water. That's so cool. But anyway, wouldn't recommend this on a day where it's choppy or you got any air pockets. And it's one of those things that I'm kind of willing to risk it, to have fun and share the moment. But if it's your only one, and like these are discontinued right now, you can't find parts for them really. They might have some parts, but I don't think you could buy enough parts to rebuild one. If this sinks, I don't think there's much buoyancy to shoot and to the metal cage. So kind of risking a lot here, but I think it's worth it, and it seems pretty predictable too. I try to stay within my scope of skills, even though maybe that scope is smaller sometimes than what I realize. But the more you stay within your scope of skills and don't risk too much at a time, the less likely you are to do any crashing. So, you've seen it drop just a little bit there. Might be starting to get more bumpy out there. Just got to watch it. Oh yeah, I see a little bit of jerking of the chute. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let's try to zoom in. When you see it bounce around a little bit, you got to pay attention to that. Let me get it back this way, give some throttle, and I'll show you what the fog is doing. You kind of see it start to porpoise a little bit. I'm going to gain some altitude. I think I'm going to stop playing so low. But see if I can show you kind of what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see in the fog. I don't know if you can see the fog enough to know that here on the left, it's kind of moving to the right. And then on the right, it's moving to the left. So right in there is a little bit of turbulence. And I don't know if it would be creating a thermal. I don't know enough about thermals to know if you can get a thermal off the water. I don't know if that's what's going on. If there's like a column that's lifting because everything's kind of coming in on itself, and that's usually what are kind of the signs of a thermal, when you have the air in different directions heading towards one direction. Basically, if there's no wind and you catch a slight breeze, you know that the column of air is in the direction of the slight breeze. So we have the fog on the left kind of coming off of the bank now, which it was going the other way. Now it's switched, and now it's coming off of the shorelines on both sides coming to the middle. So, and it was right in the middle where I got that little bumpiness. Now over here on the left, or on the other side, the right, it's looks pretty stable yet. So, but anyway, I don't want to make this video too long. It's not really able to demonstrate a whole lot while I'm swinging the camera and trying to video at the same time, but I want to be able to share in the enjoyment, the experience, and felt like the fog scenery was just too good not to share. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. This thing is a lot of fun. Now we're catching a little bit of breeze, so the sun is out now. It's been a beautiful, crisp morning. See, the sun is coming out on the trees now, and it'll probably start getting some thermals up there. So I did bring some other things to fly this morning. It's far from being too windy to fly this, but it's definitely not as stable as it was. So I'm not going to play around down low to the water if it's not stable. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed the ramblings, and hopefully this encourages you guys to get into it. Maybe one of you has one. It's just sitting on a shelf somewhere. Get that thing out. If you have any questions, I definitely don't have all the answers, but a little bit of knowledge I have, I'm happy to share, and share in the enjoyment and the fun of RC. And whatever you do that makes you happy, that's cool. If you like to hang it from the ceiling and that brings you enough enjoyment, there's nothing wrong with that either. But if I can encourage somebody to get your aircraft and get outside, enjoy God's creation and have some fun, that's what it's all about. You can see it's almost stopped, and I've got the same throttle. I've been on the same throttle all this time ever since it got kind of bumpy. So let's see if I can zoom in and show you that it's almost just standing still. It's not wanting to zoom here, or it's not wanting to focus. But anyway, you can see that it's got a slight breeze now because it's just kind of sitting up there, and it's got the same amount of throttle. So these things, you can't fly them in too much wind. Once it gets enough wind to just sit up there, you're not going to move forward. So you got to make sure you're flying upwind of yourself, so that way when it flies downwind, it'll come back to you. But there we go. There it is. Anyway, I'll probably work on bringing it back down and landing it, and might put something else up. Let's go ahead and chop the throttle. You can see it pitch down immediately, or maybe you can't. It's a little hard to see. There we go. We'll turn and come down this way, but it's just kind of doing the elevator maneuver. Oops. Let's get it turned this way. So yeah, there's a slight breeze picking up. We're getting some more fog or steam rising up from the pond here. So if I can show you that. And it's starting to be more stable, and it's coming off of the land. So the grass and foliage is starting to warm up, and it's moving back the other way now. Our wind has shifted where the breeze has actually just started. So anyway, there it is. Hope you enjoyed it, and I think it's probably time I get both hands on the stick. I've been up, well, the video has been going for 15 minutes. I've been up in the air for 29 minutes. I've flown 45 minutes on this battery pack, especially a graceful flying like I'm doing right now. So, yeah, very cool. It's just so beautiful out here, man. It is too cool. Getting a little choppy over there. All right. Probably ought to get both hands on the sticks. There's the fog. Man. It's so nice. It looks so much better in person than what the camera is capturing. Well, hopefully you guys can enjoy this. Hopefully can share in the fun this morning. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit a like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Let's grow the channel and share in the enjoyment, the fun of RC, and spread the joy. So, hey, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Hey guys, check it out. This is the Hobby King Paramotor. It's a chilly fall morning. There's some fog over the pond. It is just beautiful out here. It's fairly calm. The sun just came up, and I just want to get out here and fly through some of the fog. Look at this. It is just an amazing morning to fly. Too much fun. I'm going to add some throttle, trying to... Uh-oh. We have no throttle. We're out of... Oh, sick. We ran the battery dead. Oops. There we go.
All the lights are still on.
Fishing early in the morning.
Oh man.
Good way to start Monday.
Look at this. Chute's working.
Yep.
What happens if you play around too low? Oh man.
I think the poor pilot might have drowned.
He's waterlogged.
Yay!
Here's what not to do with a Hobby King paramotor. Don't fly it too low too long over the water. It just sunk and I just retrieved it. I was shooting some video and having some fun, flew it for too long, and wasn't watching my timer. I had it set on stopwatch and not countdown. It was flying for over 30 minutes, which I've flown for 45 minutes before, but I think my battery might have not been fully charged. And I didn't have telemetry, so I'll be installing telemetry on it so I can keep an eye on that in the future. But yeah, it was dropping altitude, and I went to add throttle and had no throttle left. So I headed towards the shore, but I was only about 5 feet up anyway, so I was too low to recover. Used these retrieval poles my dad donated to the club here a few months ago and got it out, but it was sunk by the time I got it. Thankfully, 20 foot out, it was only like 4 foot deep, so I was still able to see it. Anyway, that's what not to do.